Let's pick up right where we left off, shall we? In the kingdom of Wyvernguard, there was a gulf between what was lawful and what was just. Here, ideals were just fairy tales. They were pleasant to think about, but they distracted from how the world really was. You're naive, but I've been starting to think that if everyone else was like you, the world wouldn't be the way it was. The world was the way it was. Not even you, all your special divine powers, could change that. I can't believe Cuthbert used the Eye of Horus on the client. And more reckless, and I think McCoy is just making him worse. Oh. Wonder what he was like with his real mother. I mean, he doesn't know. He clearly does not know the implications of this. It's definitely nothing like Ryan was. Oh? Adopting him was a mistake. Oh no. Something wrong, Tymora? Oh? No, it's nothing. Well, the trial is about to begin, and all of our futures are at stake. Of course, miss. Actually, what do you go by now? Prefer just Beatrice, but they'll be using my legal name anyways. What's this? Beatrice muttered some kind of mantra before clapping her hands together. Been doing that a lot. She'd been doing that a lot since we met. Must have been some kind of meditative ritual for her. Couldn't help but side-eye Eris. I was a little annoyed with how careless she was being. Hello? Hello? Is something wrong, Tymora? I'd just like to know what you think you're doing here. My father sent me to accompany Beatrice to the courthouse. It's a new environment for her. We do need to keep her condition in mind, after all. I wasn't so convinced. Her father had a lot more sense than that. Not to mention that Eris always liked stirring up trouble. She took a lot of pleasure in complicating my jobs. It was apparently her favorite pastime. Boss, doting father that he was, just let her do as she pleased. I hope you understand how much you're risking by being seen with me. You were already pushing it when you approached us at the academy. Whoa. Don't you think you're worrying too much? You've been preparing for this, haven't you? Just keep your head low and make sure no one connects you to your father. You know how important this trial is. Why? Would knowing my true identity cause friction with your son? He's not my... Oh, speak of the devil. I spotted Cuthbert and McCoy walking into the courtroom with the other members of the gallery. Just after our little argument, he wanted to see how this trial would turn out. McCoy spotted me and gave me a friendly yet uncomfortable smile. Cuthbert froze for a moment before looking away and walking silently into the courtroom. Parental troubles? We had a disagreement earlier. It's nothing to worry about. You say so. I was worried about what he saw in Beatrice's mind. He'd always been a good kid. He was also really stubborn, clouded his judgment sometimes. He hadn't been practicing law for very long. It didn't help that his string of victories was getting to his head. I was sure that once he'd seen enough of what the courts were really like, he'd understand why I needed to do this. The trial's about to start. Do you really have the time to be making small talk here? Oh! Prosecutor Steelwind approached the three of us, tailed by a familiar face. Wallace Nightgrave? He's accompanying me as my aide for this case. Hello? Interesting. So can I assume you'll be prosecuting? Of course. I would never pass up the opportunity to face the infamous Ruby Tymora. Really? If I remember correctly, you haven't even beaten Tyrion once so far. Nah. Would seem that struck a nerve. Might be able to use that later. Miss Steelwind, don't strain yourself. What's that look for, Beatrice? You seem almost surprised to see me here. Freelancer. Considering the circumstances, I thought you might recuse yourself. Arcane art illusion. I am more than capable of remaining objective. Especially for a case of this much importance. Well, I hope your mind is as strong as you think it is. Miss Steelwind! Nightgrave looked unusually reprimanding and concerned for her. He was really averse to confrontation, wasn't he? Oh, I love a good reunion. The deck was already stacked in our favor. Just needed to follow through and get this over and done with. With that, we'd finally have everything we needed to topple the 4 pillars.
Order!
Interesting. What's happening here? Frega. Court is now in session for the trial of Beatrice Frega. Miss Steelwind, is the prosecution ready? Oh. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. The defense is also ready, Your Honor. She definitely looked less self-assured than usual. Her history with Beatrice might be throwing her off. Oh? Very well, let's begin the proceedings. Prosecutor Steelwind, could you please list the charges? Your Honor, the defendant is charged with first-degree murder and grand theft. Many of you know Beatrice Frega is the formerly missing daughter of the now late William Frega, and the victim of the murderer is William Frega himself. Yes, I'm well aware of that. We had that bit last time of... Yeah, the fella talking to, Yeah, that had to have been William Frega. Blue-haired, big fella. I'm just thinking, recalling. Yes, I'm well aware of that. You, the Wyvern-god, will certainly mourn the loss of House Frega's head. Please. The only people who mourned him were the banking house's shareholders. Like, they are still very much, after the whole automaton import plan failed, Mr. House Frega declared that he had a plan to continue to move against Lucia Steelwind. Which is interesting. Now we've turned around and he's dead, so that plan clearly went well. Tyrion saw something odd in Beatrice. Beatrice, Eris, the crime lord fella, I want to say the thumb taker, but that doesn't sound right. Yeah, eye taker. The eye taker. The red-haired dude. Eye patch. He's in cahoots with Eris. Eris is very clearly in cahoots with Ruby. Outside of her father's wishes. And there's some kind of plot in play here to take down the 4 pillars. Outside of Arya and the Crown Prince trying to reform things in a better way. On that matter, did you also say that the defendant is accused of grand theft? Yes, Your Honor. The crimes took place during the Lord's Ball, an event that was hosted in Frega Manor yesterday evening. The Haraldson Hall of History was hosting an exhibit within the manor. They were showcasing several magical artifacts donated to the Wyvern-God Historical Society. One of these items was the Sword of Spell-Eating, a magical artifact that allows its wielder to nullify magical effects. Hardcore. When wielded by a creature, that creature and anything connected to them are immune to all harmful magical effects. Forged through a blood contract between a mage and a demon. Sick. The prosecution believes that the defendant stole this item to break into the victim's study, which was secured with a magical lock. Breaking into the study, she attacked the victim and slashed his throat open using a letter opener. He died of blood loss shortly after. 3:12 a.m. Traces of illusion magic were also found in the body. I see. Does the prosecution have a motive? William Frega and his daughter were not close. Saying that they had a strained relationship would be an understatement. In fact, 5 years prior to the murder, Beatrice abandoned and fled her home. Went into hiding and cut contact with all of her friends and family. Her whereabouts were unknown until she contacted her father a week ago.
Objection!
Ooh! Sinister! Smack! My client left the Frega household because of her toxic relationship with her father. She wanted to create a life for herself that was free from his influence and abuse. I won't disagree with your claims. It simply highlights how desperate the defendant must have been. She had clearly fallen on hard times and begrudgingly contacted her father for financial aid. I have no idea why they would schedule this meeting during the yearly Lord's Ball. Nevertheless, several witnesses did see her last night. And these same witnesses saw her storming out of her father's study in anger. Her father must have refused her request for aid, just so she decided to murder him to claim his inheritance. It's a good thing we prepared for this. Beatrice Frega fled from her family 5 years ago and went into hiding. Retaliation, William Frega told Miriam Frega he would remove Beatrice from his will. As a result, she wouldn't receive any inheritance after his death. His testimony will be confirmed by Miriam Frega in court. Curious. We are about to do a bad. I'm just thinking here because... like, very much so. Like, if this was false testimony between, Ruby and Miriam. I mean, Ruby and, Beatrice. They could have the play of using it as a means to accuse Miriam. They might still be doing that. This is very clearly false It is very clearly false testimony Eric got pushed, but... question of why is to be determined, but... Alright. Smack. What you're saying is all conjecture, Steelwind. You don't have any evidence to confirm why my client contacted her father. Yes, I'm well aware that the defendant has refused to tell us what they discussed. And to be honest, Steelwind, do you seriously think that my client committed these crimes in spite of her condition? Condition? What do you mean by that, Mr. Tymora? Why don't you tell him, Steelwind? Tell the court about my client's disability. Your Honor, Beatrice Frega is legally disabled, however... legally disabled. That's a convenient way of putting it, Steelwind. My client is completely blind. What did Tyrion see? Completely blind? Is this true? Oh, okay. So it wasn't the, I doubt it was any of the Eye of Horus's deep diving functions. It was probably just... Tyrion listened in while Beatrice was talking and got a, emotion and thought reaction to something Beatrice said. That made him go, hey, what the fuck? Completely blind, is this true? We have several medical documents and technology from several chirurgeons attesting to the fact. My client is unable to see anything. What is the meaning of this, Miss Steelwind? Do you think to believe that a blind woman performed any of the acts you're accusing her of? I'm glad you also see how ridiculous these claims are, Your Honor. What would just let me elaborate? Your Honor, prosecution's first charge is grand theft. My client would have needed to break into a display case that was magically secured. Performing such an act would be a difficult task for anyone, much less my client. The second charge is first-degree murder. My client would need to use the sword of spell-eating of the lock leading to the victim's study. Then she would have needed to grab a letter opener, overpower the victim, and deliver a precise and fatal blow to the victim's neck. Does any of that sound like a reasonable theory, Your Honor? I'm compelled to agree with you, Miss Tymora. It all sounds quite ludicrous, to be perfectly honest. This is just awful. Steelwind have always been at odds with the Fregas. They're just taking advantage of the Duke's death.
Objection!
A solid play. Enough. Your Honor, This court has not seen the evidence that supports this case, nor have you listened to the Inquisition's testimony regarding the investigation. Until you have done so, you are in no position to pass judgment. Very well, Miss Tyrone. This little lady had some claws, after all. It didn't matter. Their case against Beatrice was questionable at best. Frankly, it was surprising that Stephen even went through with this. It's only a matter of time before the judge saw things my way. Again, the prosecution would like to call Commander Orm White to the stand. Hey, buddy. Commander White, please testify to the court about the Inquisition's findings. Right. I didn't want to cause panic after the sword was stolen, to activate the manor's silent security system, an anti-magic field of the entire manor. To search the house, found the stolen sword in the defendant's bedroom. Didn't look like she was going to run, and Crown Prince asked her told us to stand down. We just kept a close eye on her. Then Frega was in a bad mood that night. He'd already locked himself inside his study. An hour later, we entered the study and found him lying dead in a pool of his own blood. The lock was still engaged, and no one teleported in. But must temporarily disable the lock using the sword as spelling. I have testimonies that say the defendant was seriously in debt. Guess she murdered the victim to get a part of his inheritance. Her case against Beatrice was just as I'd predicted. I already had a countermeasure to disprove the existence of any motive. All I had to do was present that day to the court. Wait, doesn't the sword make the wielder immune to magical effects? Anti-magic field would have only disempowered everyone except the thief. Yeah, well, didn't know what the sword could do until after the investigation. Till then, we thought it was just a dusty old artifact. That seems pretty negligent. Are you sure you're qualified for your position, Orm? Yeah. The situation was unprecedented for everyone involved. Could hardly expect an ancient artifact to have magical capabilities. Anyways, what did you do after the theft, Commander? That seems like a strange conclusion to jump to. My client hadn't set foot in the Frega Manor in years. After being gone for so long, her bedroom had to have been repurposed for something else. I'm not sure about the details, but one of the defendant's sisters refused to let the servants disturb that room. Guess she was hoping that her sister would come back one day. Life. Oh. Hold it. And why would the prince tell you to stand down, Orm? Well... Crown Prince Aster knew the defendant well. Was confident that she wasn't going to flee the scene. Are you sure he just knew her well? Uh-oh. If I recall correctly, the prince is still very adamant about her innocence. Oh. Everyone's fighting. Crown Prince is vouching for the defendant? Is this true, Miss Steelwyn? It is. However, I believe that the evidence found through the investigation proves the contrary. Are you sure your judgment isn't simply being clouded by your jealousy? Your fiancé was previously engaged to my client, after all. Oh. Ah. What the bloody tea? You're enjoying this a bit too much. Yeah, true. Did anyone see him enter the study? A few people. One of them was Life Frega, the victim's second daughter. He said that he was extremely irritated, so he went into his study for some peace and quiet. As his meeting with the defendant put him in a bad mood. But if the manor was covered in an anti-magic field, how did he lock the door magically? I'm not sure how. Locks of the manor aren't affected by anti-magic fields. Huh. How? Magical locks generate a smaller anti-magic field around themselves. Two fields cancel each other out. It's akin to multiplying two negative numbers together. I'm going to be honest, I don't know a lot about artificery. Is what she's saying true? Yes. Overlapping anti-magic fields are a well-studied phenomenon. It's a frequently used failsafe. I would just have to take your word for it. Who discovered the body? The same person who saw him last. His daughter, Lady Frega. Though she could have been anyone but other than her. Anyone else there with Lady when she discovered the body? Yeah. Well, I suppose one of the servants got himself locked in a nearby storage closet. near the violent attack to one of the air vents. What? Finding one out, he told Lefe. They went into the study, accompanied by some knights. The sword is integral to the case against my client. So why is the description of its capabilities so vague? To be honest, the sword is magical. Doesn't seem to be like any behave like any spells we know about. We can't identify its magic like we usually do with most artificery devices. According to Lord Howardson, its powers are demonic in nature. If you ask me, that's all a bunch of hooey. Either way, it's obvious that it doesn't follow the normal rules of magic. What? What is it, Miss Tymora? It's nothing. Cuthbert was watching for the gallery, so he must have heard that too. I could worry about Cuthbert later. Either way, we've tested the sword's magic on similar locks. When used correctly, it is capable of disabling the lock on the Duke's study. Fair enough. You have testimonies? Would an official record be more valid evidence? It's more. You and I both know that your client's creditors are not the type to keep such records. So you're admitting that you're relying on hearsay. One could conclude that. But it doesn't matter if we can prove that the debt exists. The Frega estate is unimaginably vast. Debt or no debt, that amount of wealth would be a tempting boon to any individual. She had a point. House Frega owned every banking house in Wyverngard. We'll only dream of having that much wealth and power. This case against Beatrice was already really weak. I'm surprised she even brought this to trial in the first place. I already had testimony from someone else that directly contradicted the commander's testimony. Once I presented that, the case was as good as mine.
Objection!
God, I love her objection pose. Your Honor, the prosecution's case against my client is riddled with holes. And the prosecution's proposed motive is the largest among them. What do you mean, Miss Tymora? Of all the elements in this case, the motive is the most believable. Her client would have had much to gain through her father's inheritance. That may be, assuming my client had anything to inherit at all. What? Your Honor, my client fled from a psychologically abusive father 5 years ago. William Frega was a petty and vindictive man. Honestly think that he'd leave his inheritance to someone who disobeyed him so egregiously? No. He'd do everything in his power to make sure she didn't see a shred of his wealth. Yes, we're already well aware of this. When she slammed her cane down, I noticed her wince a little. She was getting more and more heated. I didn't realize her rivalry with Beatrice was this personal. The night of the murder, the victim made the decision to disinherit the defendant. However, his murder deprived him of the opportunity to submit his will to his attorney. This only further proves the defendant's motive. She would have needed to act quickly, lest her father submit the changes to his will. I'm afraid you're mistaken, Steerwin. William Frega didn't disinherit my client that night. He disinherited my client 5 years ago when she left. I have witnessed testimony from Miriam Frega, William's youngest daughter. By her own admission, her father disinherited my client before she fled the household. That's why she left. What? She never brought that up during questioning. Why would she release that information to one of her family's enemies? If you don't believe me, why don't we call her to the stand and ask her for ourselves? What have you done, Tymora? You have no idea what you're talking about. It's clear we won't get anywhere until we hear from Miriam directly. Bailiff, please escort Miriam Frega to the stand. Miriam, is the defense correct? Your father disinherited Beatrice 5 years ago. Yes. Ah. And you didn't think it was necessary to share this information with me? Well, you never asked. If I recall correctly, you were also tight-lipped during questioning this morning. Back. Liz had just lost her father. We can hardly expect her to recall every detail that's relevant to his murder. Oh? Which raises a more concerning question. How did you extract this information? Who knows? I have always had a way with people. Ruby, why must you be so obviously suspicious about this? Miriam, please testify to this court about how you found out about Beatrice's disinheritance. Yes, of course. After my sister's accident, my father said that she was unfit to inherit our noble house. He declared to our family that he would be removing her from his will. It was 5 years ago, but I remember it well. One day we all woke up and discovered that Beatrice had fled from our home. She left a note for us. In it, she renounced her name and denounced my father. The last part seems to be true. And are you sure this all happened 5 years ago? Yes. And now I can remember everything clearly. I see. Her speech was getting slower, and I could have sworn that her words were slurring. Nightgrave seemed extremely concerned for some reason. And Leife was there with you at that meeting. Yes, she was. So Miriam would have been 12. Aye. However, Leife couldn't have possibly been there. She was starting to sway as if she couldn't keep her balance. What is happening? Is this trial getting to her? Hey, are you okay? Of course, What? The Scaled Lord, is that blood? A bailiff. Find anyone capable of casting healing magic. Escort them to the courtroom immediately. Don't you have one right next to you? Oh, okay. To help Nightgrave stabilize. Some scrambling, a couple of healers were able to help Nightgrave stabilize the prosecutor. All the chaos I caught a glimpse... what? I caught a glimpse of her. There were deep wounds and lacerations in several parts of her body. I was used some kind of illusion to hide them, but the mages dispelled it to identify her wounds. Took Steven out of the courtroom on a stretcher, but as they were doing that, grabbed Nightgrave and rasped something into his ear. But confused, he simply nodded and made his way to the witness stand? Not before passing a message on to the bailiff, who seemed equally confused. Mr. Nightgrave, explain yourself. What is going on? Why would Miss Steven prosecute if she was so gravely injured? I'm sorry. But I wasn't actually here as Miss Steven's aide. I was here as her doctor. Her doctor? Truth is that Miss Steven was violently attacked at noon today. She was in critical condition, but she insisted on prosecuting this case anyways. She suddenly showed up at my house and asked me to channel my necromancy to keep her wounds closed during the trial. Scaled Lord! Why didn't she just recuse herself? She was to have known. If anyone else had tried to prosecute Beatrice, I would have handily won the trial. Nevertheless, she showed up when no one else would. She did it all despite the risk to her life. It almost made me respect her a little. Anyways, is there any need to prolong this trial, Your Honor? What? Even you must acknowledge how weak the case against my client is. Gotta cling on to her last point there. Leife couldn't have been there. In addition to that, Miriam's testimony shows that my client had nothing to gain from her father's death. Mr. Tymora, Miss Steven has been gravely injured, and you're still only concerned about... The only thing I'm concerned about is seeking justice for my client. Even so, we cannot move forward until we find another prosecutor. And how long do you think that will take, Your Honor? It's been nearly 12 hours since the murder took place. Give us what? 36 hours? That every magical trace of the crime scene will fully disappear. There might be someone... If Steven had simply allowed another prosecutor to work the case, we wouldn't be in this situation. Imagine if fucking Tyrion steps in. She took a risk, and now she has to take responsibility for that. Wouldn't you agree, Your Honor? I was completely proud of winning this way, but I wouldn't let an opportunity like this pass me by. The judge was clearly unhappy with this turn of events, but Steven didn't leave him any choice. It seems that there aren't any prosecutors available to immediately take Miss Steven's place. We'll take a brief recess. That will deliver my verdict.
Objection!
Yeah! There it goes! Back. Your Honor, I'm afraid you can't pass a verdict just yet. Mr. Cuthbert? Cuthbert, what the hell are you doing? I don't know. What I do know is that there was a massive contradiction in Miriam Frega's testimony. Oh, alright. Okay. now we're gonna catch up on what the hell has gone down here. Hi, Miriam. Oh, she's precious. Oh, she's adorable. Oh, Miriam, you're back. Hello, Leify. How have you been faring? I heard about what happened to Professor Bellwether. I'm terribly sorry. It must have been an awful ordeal for you. Yes, thank you. I've heard about your independent studies with the Crown Prince. Father is extremely proud of you. Miriam just scoffed at the obvious lie. It's been so long since you've been back at the manor. I was thinking we could have some tea together in the garden before the guests arrive. I am terribly sorry, but I'm already exhausted from my trip here. I think I'd like to rest in my room and prepare for the Lord's Ball tonight. Okay. Let me know if you change your... Oh. Leify wasn't even finished before her sister walked past her and entered her room. What state is this family in? I feel so out of place here. Despite my clear issues with Wyvern upper class, I'd somehow found myself at a party filled with them. They recognized anyone, but from all the looks I was getting, they clearly recognized me. Why, you in the corner by yourself? Can't believe I let you talk me into coming here. Everyone is... Lost my train of thought. I've been wanting to wear this dress for a while now. What do you think? Oh, it's that bad, huh? No, you look... stunning, beautiful, breathtaking. The words came to mind, all of which would be mortifying if I said them out loud. Say it, say it, say it. Good, you look good. Oh, I look good? That's a start. Oh, she knows how this boy... She knows how this boy... She knows how he... Almost as if she had the ability to read my thoughts. You couldn't actually do that, could she? It's just intuition. I mean, I had the ability to read people's minds, so logic would dictate that I'm not the only one. Huh? What if she could read my mind? What if she was reading it right now? Hi, Ruby. Am I interrupting something? Miss Tymora. Celeste and I quietly stepped away from each other when our mentor suddenly appeared. I wanted to check in on you two before we went to meet the Duke. Spotted Mr. Moore's client following behind her. Oh? It's hard to read her. The Eye of Horus couldn't glean anything from her mind. Her poise barely shifted. She carried herself with the grace of someone who didn't seem easily rattled. Her expression was calm yet distant. Even when we made eye contact, it felt like she was just staring through me. It was my first time meeting her. She still looked familiar for some reason. Hi, I'm Tyrion. I'm Mr. Moore's ward. I extended my hand to shake hers. He was a little unapproachable. I hope that I wasn't being too forward. After taking my hand, she clapped her hands together and took a deep breath. What? Sorry. I didn't do that. It's a bit of a habit of mine. Oh. I'm Beatrice. I've heard much about you. Just Beatrice. Negotiate some kind of deal with William Frega. Need to relate to House Frega, one of the four pillar family. I shook my hand before looking to Miss Tymora. I wasn't sure about the details, but my mentor was brokering a deal between Beatrice and William Frega. There were many elements of that which I found puzzling, but my mentor was tight-lipped as always. I'm going to head to Frega's study. Can you two stay out of trouble while we're gone? Oh, come on, it's not like we always go looking for it. Yet you two always seem to find trouble anyways. Cuthbert, we're in a manor filled with the highest members of nobility. We're going to meet some familiar and unfriendly faces. Don't worry, keep a low profile, Mr. Tymora. So, why were you so insistent on accompanying Mr. Moore to the Lord's Ball? You know you can tell me anything, right? Everything that happened in Arnax made me think about things. Every noble in the kingdom attends this ball. I thought maybe whoever left me at my family's tavern would be here. Being here is starting to make me feel weird. The Coys are my real family. Looking for the people who abandoned me feels wrong. don't think that's true. Really? I wouldn't be the person I am today without Miss Tymora, but I still keep the memory of my mother close to me, too. I don't think it's disrespectful to find out more about yourself. I'm sure your mother will understand. You think so? I'm sure of it. I'm also sure of another thing. If I'm with you, I doubt any of the nobles here will want to speak with you. Yeah, I don't want to be rude, but don't worry. You can find something to fill the time. You're just gonna play chess alone somewhere, aren't you? Maybe? You need to learn to talk to other people. Make some new friends or something. In a room full of nobles. I'm sure they're not all bad. Arya is pretty great, right? Asked her too. She had a point, but I was never really one to make small talk with strangers. I joined the room of nobles, recognized some of them from the news articles I had read over the years. There were also some people there who were around my age. Most of the children of the noble heads. I could approach them. Chances were that one of them wouldn't be an arrogant pig. Thought of everything that could go wrong was paralyzing. It's fine, I don't need more friends. I spend most of my time with you anyway, that's enough for me. No! Yeah! Oh, well, I'm going to try to talk to some people. Yeah, I'll see you later. Celeste left to mingle with some of the other partygoers. I was almost envious of how easily she could do that. I really wish I could strike up conversations with random strangers the same way she could. It was fine. She had her strengths and so did I. Only made me wish I could be there with her. Stop it! She was her own person. She was perfectly capable of handling herself. I find something to pass the time. My hand instinctively went to my satchel. I thought about bringing out my chessboard, but if I did that, I'd just stand out even more. I should try to find somewhere I can be alone. Each table had a centerpiece of flowers on it. Most of the seats at the tables were filled. It didn't look like I'd be able to play there. Several gold-tinted chandeliers hung from the ceiling of the ballroom. They looked fancy enough to be worth a small fortune. It irked me knowing how much wealth the Duke must have had. I'd been hoarding to afford all this. This looks pretty quiet, but there aren't any tables anyway. I could play on the floor. Don't do it. Dog? Oh, what the? I was walking through the hallways of the manor. I suddenly came face to face with a large animal. Before I could even realize what I was looking at, the creature quickly scampered away. Did someone leave a door open? I thought about telling someone, but the manor was full of nobles. I was sure that a servant would spot it eventually, but it wasn't as if anyone could believe me anyways. Either way, best to look for somewhere else to play. There were several jewels mounted on the walls, and they were all equidistant from each other. I already knew that House Frega was wealthy, but embedding jewels into the walls made the manors look a little tacky. They even had gold-tinted chandeliers in the hallways. It was ridiculous when I really thought about it. Hello, giant sword. I continued exploring the manor and found myself in a room with several displays. Like a gallery of some kind. It was slightly out of place here. There were a few nobles in the room, and they were all silently appreciating the exhibits. William Frega must have paid a museum to display some historical exhibits from the Lord's Ball. There's a face I haven't seen before. Ooh! Wore the vestments of an archaeologist, carrying 2 large satchels crammed with tools, maps, and other instruments. His hair was white and his skin was wrinkled, but he walked with the youth and spirit of someone who had a much longer life ahead of him. Although all of these features were far less notable than the monkey hanging off his back. The small orangutan tilted his head as he looked at me curiously. Monkey. I looked directly at him. He hid himself behind the old man's shoulder, peeking at me from behind it. I'm Harold Haraldson. I'm the curator of this collection. Is that name a pseudonym or something? No. How unfortunate. Lead of House Haraldson. I see. It was predestined that he would come to lead the Haraldson house, as his mother gave him the name Harold. History and archaeology. Historian, noble households, the Isles and Hall of History, located in Homerth. I can't actually use his real name. I see. Wait. As the curator of this museum, he must have known a lot of myths and history. I wondered. How much do you know about the myths and cultures of nations other than Wyverngard? His eyes narrowed. This monkey eyed me suspiciously. Nah, cute. I see, I know you. Your name is Cuthbert, isn't it? Ah! It's never a good sign when someone recognized me. I'm not exactly a friend of the nobility. I have to ask why you're here. I'm accompanying my mentor. She has business with someone here. He eyed me warily, but his stare didn't carry the usual disdain I've received from other nobles. I swear on the Scaled Lord, I'm telling the truth. Scaled Lord is not someone whose name you should invoke so lightly. It sounds like you're telling the truth. I just can't help but wonder why you're interested in the other nations. Tread carefully. It seemed nice, but he was still a noble. He scoured any available knowledge on the other nations. Difficult to find anything on the celestial gods. You don't get many opportunities like this. I'm trying to learn more about the celestial gods. That's not something I'd make a habit of telling people, especially someone in your position. I know, but it's been impossible to find any information about them. You really need to find out more. Can you help me? Exactly say no to such a curious mind. I'll help you the best I can, but don't let anyone know about this. All of us in danger. Oh boy. Sharing this information is technically outlawed by the kingdom. I think of some sort of scientist. That man is Dr. Luke Kelper. He's an alchemist and inventor of the nation of Arcane. He's well known for his studies into imbuing intelligence into automatons. Intelligent automatons? That make them similar to arcane constructs? Yes, actually. I wouldn't be surprised if Lord von Sanctus used Dr. Kepler's research to create those constructs. I doubted he even created them. He seemed to be importing all of them from Arcaris and taking credit for their work. It's the beginning of a researcher. That is Professor Matt Furland. He's a professor of some renown. He's a researcher of combinational magical theory. What's that? The study of how different types of magic interact with each other. He recently ran an experiment on what would happen if two anti-magic fields overlapped each other. I see. That's actually pretty interesting. What were the results of that experiment? Well, they had mages enter the space where the two fields overlapped. Turns out that those mages were able to use magic in that space. Wait, would that be possible? He would have had two anti-magic fields affecting them. When the two fields overlap, they cancel each other out. Heard that it's akin to multiplying two negative numbers together. That sounds awfully familiar. Pair of golden earrings. There are small jewels embedded in each of them. I call them the Earrings of Vitality, an artifact I found in the ruins of a large Luminite temple. Whoever wears these would have their lifespan increased tenfold. I'm sure it's just a legend, though. Did you read that from some ancient text? Not exactly. I didn't even know there were Luminite temples in Wyverngard. Almost all of them have been completely demolished by the kingdom over the years. As Wyverngard's territory once belonged to the theocracy. The kingdom would rather have everyone forget that. Oh, hello. Wounds will slowly heal. Alright, what is this? It's a pair of metallic armbands. There's several magical runes carved onto them. Those are the armbands of intellect. They were actually created by a member of House Frega many centuries ago. Centuries? That would mean that these armbands predate the invention of artificery. That's correct. Legends say that whoever wore these armbands would be granted unparalleled levels of intellect. And you believe that House Frega created these to help them unlock the secrets of magic. Interesting. It's a crimson red sword. That's the sword of spell eating. Legends say that it has the power to nullify any kind of magic. So it's like an anti-magic field. In a way, but it has less than heroic origins. It said this sword was created through a blood pact between a mage and a dragon. A demon? Demons are terrible and powerful creatures. They exist solely to sow chaos and oppose the gods. I suppose they took great pride in their ability to deceive and corrupt people. I can say that most demons have the power to absorb and nullify magic. Many have theorized that a demon imbued some of the power to save some of that power into the sword. Is it safe to put something like this on display? Don't worry, these displays are fortified with several abjuration spells. I bet even Lord Steelwind would have trouble getting into this. Didn't mean to do that. Gotta do the thing. Ah, what is this? A rare artifact. It's an attorney's runestone. Proves that I'm a certified attorney. All my colleagues have similar devices. They're so enamored with all these newfangled functions. Well, you won't catch me chasing passing fads like that. Well, alright then. So what's this historian doing at the Lord's Ball, Lord Haroldson? Harold. Oh, okay, Mr. Harold. Harold! Been reading stuff really stubborn about this. It'd be best to just go with it. My apologies, Harold. Duke of Finance invites my museum to set up some displays here every year. I think it adds a semblance of culture and the Philistines. It's the Herald's in all of history, located in the city of Homerith. Unfortunately, I don't think his guests appreciate the historical significance of these items. Honestly, I think you're the only person in years who's taken a meaningful interest in them. Sorry, but I really have to ask, is that a monkey riding on your back? The animal, but he quickly avoided eye contact with me and hid behind Harold's shoulder. Yes, this is my familiar, Eugene. Oh, you cast familial bond on him. I'm surprised you know about it. It's quite rare. Very few mages take the time to learn how to cast it. Oh, this is back. After Lord Von Sanctus and Violetta. Eugene helps me with my day-to-day. These old bones aren't as spry as they used to be, after all. Harold, what do you know about the Celestial Gods? I haven't been able to find anything about them. That makes sense. They're primarily worshipped by the people of the theocracy of Lumina. I'd explain why worship of them was outlawed. Lumina was the kingdom west of us, but I knew very little about them. I knew is that we fought them during the First War of Wyverngard, and then later during the Great Luminite War. They'd been Wyverngard's long-standing enemy for a while. The asking about them could raise suspicions of treason. There are 9 celestial gods, each representing a divine domain in heaven. Deus, Odin, Machina, Horus. I'm sorry, one of them is named Horus? Yes, Horus the Lightbringer. He's the god of radiance and the ruler of the 6th domain in heaven. I just made that name up when I was younger. Horus was real? Something wrong? No, I was just thinking about what you said. Well, since we've thought about it, let's fixate on it. Could you tell me more about Horus? As I said, he's the god of radiance. The sun and concept of light lie within his domain. He's also said to embody the virtues of truth, justice, and life himself. He's the enemy of lies. It's a little unnerving how much of a chord that struck with me. It also reminded me of something. If that remained that Nod could remain concealed from him? Some legends claim so. I'll be honest. I only have so many texts available to me. My knowledge of Lumina is limited to their myths, and my quest to travel in Lumina have been denied for decades. There are many stories of his followers being blessed with the ability to see through lies and deception. Almost as if they had his eyes. It didn't make any sense. I didn't worship Horus. I didn't even know who he was until tonight. Why would he give me this ability? Did your mom worship Horus? No, I need to think of this more rationally. Mages of Wyverngard supposedly descended from people blessed scaled Lord. Using that logic, but I've descended from people who were blessed by Horus? Were any of his followers established in Wyverngard? Heavens no. The Luminites are viewed as enemies of Wyverngard. Imagine any known followers would have had unfortunate accidents befall them. I'd explain why my mother never talked about him with me, but I really wished she'd left me something. I'm being awfully inquisitive about this. Why are you so interested in Horus and his followers? It's purely academic curiosity. Really wasn't convinced, but he didn't push the matter further. Attention was drawn to the earrings of vitality. Supposedly an artifact from the ancient days of the theocracy. Hey, would it be okay if I took a closer look at these earrings? Not presumptuous. I promise I'll be careful with them. Suppose I can make an exception this time. Lord Haraldson walked up to the display case and whispered something into the runic console attached to it. He had several magical locks disengaged before he opened the case and carefully pulled out the artifact. I laid my hands out so he could delicately place them in my hands. He carefully inspected the earrings. Each of them had a golden frame with a red luminous stone embedded in its center. Being brightly under the artificial light of the gallery, was abnormally so. Wait, something engraved in these earrings. What? I barely make out the text engraved on the gold frame. It was nearly microscopic. I lie at the beginning of illumination. I lie within determination. Within eternity. I cannot be found in shadows. It's a letter I. What am I? A riddle?
Maybe.
It's the letter I. Illumination starts with I, eternity contains I, there's no I in shadows. What? The earring suddenly lit up, blinding white washing over the gallery. But the ground disappeared from under me, felt like I was floating in water. I should have been shocked and surprised, but the sensation somehow felt familiar and nostalgic. You've strayed very far from home, young one. A voice rang out from all around me, felt like bells ringing and reverberating inside my head. You're not much of a warrior, but maybe a warrior isn't what's needed to dispel the encroaching shadows. That light within you, why is it so reminiscent of my fallen friend? What are you talking about? Who are you? I suppose it doesn't matter from which spark that flame came. It burns bright within you like that of a burning star. Go forth and walk the path of radiance, my heavens born. Oh? Oh? Hello? A divine invocation to manifest any covenant written in blood and spirit. All will be revealed whether said covenant was forged in heaven or hell. Mr. Cuthbert, are you okay? What? What just happened? All I did was blink. I suddenly found myself back at the gallery as if awoken from a dream. I was just standing there, staring at nothing. Didn't you see that blinding light? It was that loud voice, too. I didn't see anything. I see those earrings. Right, of course. I don't see the engraving you were talking about. Oh, it's small, but it's right. Uh-oh. The longer I look at the earrings, I realized that the riddle had disappeared. The golden frame was smooth and unblemished, as if the text had never been there. What? Just seeing things? I doubt you elucidated such a specific riddle. Am I being pranked? Someone from the Historical Society put you up to this. No, it was... What's going on? That riddle had something to do with the Eye of Horus. I hope Celeste's investigation was going better than mine. Meanwhile, how dare you insinuate such a thing? I wasn't trying to insult you, I just... Enough! If you try to speak with me again, I'll have you arrested for harassment. It was not, in fact, going well. The noblewoman stormed off in a huff. Celeste just let out an exhausted sigh. Every conversation she'd tried hadn't gone any differently. This isn't working. I don't think asking them like that will be very effective. What? Oh, cute! You expect anyone here to be truthful with you? You're essentially asking them if they engaged in adultery. Oh, Aria. Surprised to see you here. You're not party crashing, are you? Of course not. I came here with Ruby and Tyrion. That honestly just raises more questions, but I'll take your word for it. Don't know if that's any of my business, but you should think about whether this is what you want, whether this is what you truly want. What? I understand wanting to find out more about yourself, but getting entangled with the aristocracy will only bring you misery. I should know. Just want to know more about where I came from. It might help me understand all this weirdness inside me. I don't think you're weird at all. I quite enjoy your company. Oh, really? Sure Mr. Cuthbert feels the same way. Really? Yeah. Something wrong? No, it's just that... Actually, what do you think about Tyrion, Arya? He's a remarkable attorney. His deductive skills are incredible. Frankly, I'm a little envious of his talent. I'm loath to admit that Ruby Tymora has taught him well. I mean, he's a person, Arya. I only know him in a professional capacity. Don't you notice how much he cares about people? I suppose he is quite dedicated to his job. Not just a job to him, he really cares about his clients and helping them. Doesn't matter how much danger he puts himself in. It doesn't matter who threatens him. He just keeps going, and it's honestly kind of annoying. He won't back down from anyone, even the Four Pillars. Ever since he indicted Pierce, someone has been sending people to Tyrion's home. I did my job, but I'm worried I'm going to slip up one day and let him get seriously hurt. I am sorry about that. I wish I could do more to help you with that. Fine. My responsibility to protect him. You ever told him how worried you've been? I want to stop him from doing what he's doing. I don't think he'd even listen if I did. What makes him who he is? He's helping a lot of people. He inspires them too. Amazing, and courageous, and caring, and sweet, and... Celeste? No, Oh no. Things been really weird since Zoronex. Been being to ask about that. Something happened during Draken's trial. Oh! You gotta... Saying that without context, girl! Gotta step together. Before marriage? Platonically! You know, not like that! We just slept in the same bed and held hands. Before marriage? What? I suppose everyone has different levels of libido, but you shouldn't be so reckless. Arya, I'm not gonna get pregnant from holding Tyrion's hand. Even so, I'm not sure what kind of woman you think I am. I wish to indulge you in your lecherous tales of Oh, like you never wanted to hold Aster's hand or anything like that. I would never. I would have the utmost respect for him. Come on, I was there at the refinery. It's obvious you like him like that. Please, you're grossly exaggerating things. And what if I told you he was standing right behind you? Do you honestly fall for such an obvious lie? What are you falling for? Ari's entire body whipped around to face her fiancé. She almost tripped as she stumbled backwards. Her voice started to break into a soft, high-pitched whimper. Your Highness! Celeste noticed how Ari's eyes were frequently darting between the Crown Prince's face and his hand. Baby! Where is your eye, child? Oh, hello, Lady Steelwind. Your Highness, please don't run ahead like that. With this? After my otherworldly encounter, I decided to head back to the ballroom and wait for Celeste. Able to find a seat somewhere, and it gave me a chance to think over what had happened. I saw some kind of riddle, mentioned illumination and shadows. Horus was also the god of light, and those earrings were of Luminian origin. I have Horus react with them? Lord Haroldson had probably owned these earrings for years, yet he didn't see anything. There was this... Actually, I had no idea what this divine edict was. Was it a prayer, a riddle, an ability? Fine invocation to manifest any covenant written in blood and spirit. What did that even mean? It sounded like some flowery nonsense the Church of Bahamut would say. Uh-oh, she's trying to talk to you, my boy. If it was some kind of spell, it was nothing like the arcane spells I'd seen in compendiums. Descriptions of those spells were far more straightforward. I just felt like the more I learned about myself, the more questions I found. Yo, Lord, how long have I been staring at this girl? I just walked in the first thing across the room, but it was clear she noticed me looking at her. I quickly looked away. As I glanced back, she tried to flash me a friendly smile. She didn't look offended, which was a relief. I imagine any other noblewoman would use this as an excuse to have me thrown out. Actually, you seemed to be the only person in the room who wasn't disgusted by my presence. Miss Celeste was right. I need to learn to approach new people, and fate was giving me an opportunity. Walked across the room, several nobles gave me the side-eye. She was surrounded by several attendants who moved to stop me from approaching her. However, she waved her hand to dismiss them. It was a good sign. Attendants seemed to disapprove, but they didn't raise any objections and left quietly. On a closer look, she seemed to be a noble of some renown, and she seemed to exhibit a modesty that most aristocrats lack. It's actually quite beautiful. Not as beautiful as Celeste, but what was I thinking? Should be objectifying them like that. Good man. My thoughts clear, I couldn't just... Uh-oh. At least I was just standing in front of her, silently having this conversation with myself. Just confused. I need to say something. How do normal people talk? Oh my god, Tyrion. If I say a formal greeting, like some of it pretentious. Maybe it's just something more casual, like Celeste would. Make some kind of observation. Connect with her somehow. Ah, come on, Tyrion, just say something. Hey, my fellow blonde, what's going on? Oh, this is fantastic.